all this time,
3 days in Malaysia.
I'm probably like more than a month in Brisbane at this point since I got back from Japan, and I've been applying to places, but probably not as much as I should. Not getting a bunch of calls, or not getting like any responses almost at all. But I do get one, and I pick up, and it's these people who work like the traveling fairs. So they go around different showgrounds in Australia, either like it extends from like the far east coast, like near where people are, all the way to the outback. And at the time they're going out west towards the outback, and that's where I take a bus. I think it was like 4 hours, and before I get there I had to plan, because they told me to get like a pillow, blanket, sheets and shit, because I don't know where I'm staying. They just said there's a place to sleep that's provided. I don't know what this means at the time. I just like I just agree. So the hostel I'm staying at, I'm like, you've probably never had this asked before, but can I buy a pillow and sheets, please? Like, what? And they get their manager. They give it to me super cheap, and I actually still use that pillow to this day, because they're actually nice as hell, yeah.
Dude, poggers.
So I take that with me. I get on a bus, 4 or 6 hours, I go out, and I get there, might be like 11 at night or something, and I have to walk well over a mile to get to the fairgrounds. And I realize it's getting kind of cold, and I'm like, shit, I don't really have warm clothes, because I plan to go to Australia. You don't bring like warm shit there. Mm-hmm. But it gets cold there winters at night. And I get there, I show up to the fairground, it's dead. Like, everybody is packing the shit up. Like, almost all the rides are gone. There's still people tearing stuff down. And most people are sleeping. I don't know who I'm looking for. I don't know which van, which section, like which rides, even though I'm supposed to go to. So I'm like calling this number that the person hired me. They don't pick up the first time. Like, oh my God, I'm screwed. Where am I going? And then like the security approaches me, because there's just some random backpacker walking around the fairgrounds at night. And I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for this guy. And I say their name, and they seem to know who I'm talking about. So I'm like, finally, something is going my way here. And eventually I get another call from some dude. Super sketchy looking dude. I later find out he's got like warrants out for his arrest and shit. Like he was cool as hell. He was one of the coolest dudes at the fair that I had met. But you meet some interesting people out there, especially working fairs.
I would assume.
Yeah. So I get to, he shows me where I'm sleeping, and picture like a U-Haul trailer that like not like a whole truck that you can rent, because those are much bigger than what I got. This thing is like half the size of the ones you get, and it's got 2 doors, one on the front of it and one towards the back. And I go inside, I take a look around. I don't see anything. Like, there's just tons of shit stacked up in there, like packed full to the top. I don't know what they're talking about. So I empty this thing out. The dude helps me. And there's a nasty old moldy foam mattress. Things are a little damp in there. This place definitely has not been used. And just at like the headboard of the bed, there's like a plywood wall that's separating this thing, because there are actually 2 people who are sleeping in the front half of this thing. And there's like no room in this thing at all, because it's already cut in half by that much, but it's also split down half the other way, because one of like the long side on the right is used for one of the game shows that they set up during the fair, where like all the prizes are stored. So it's like huge display thing on my right. I can't see it because it's just a wall next to my bunk bed. Mm-hmm. And
Wait,
after
it was a bunk?
It was a bunk, but the top was all storage. Like
okay.
Yeah. So I've got a sheet and a pillow, and unfortunately I dropped my sheet on the floor, and the floor is covered in water and sand from all the shit that they'd packed in there.
Dude.
Yes, it was a dire situation. So I'm already pretty miserable. Like, what am I doing with my life right now? That's what I'm thinking. But I needed to do it because I was going broke, and it was top 3 coldest nights of my life because like the blanket was wet and it got, I think, below 40 that night, or maybe at 40 or something.
Dude, holy shit.
It was cold as hell. I think I woke up at 7 and I didn't want to move. Horrible morning. And we ended up like packing up the rides that morning and ended up packing all the shit back into the truck that I'd thrown out the night before, or into the trailer. And we headed off to the new town. So that's where I was sleeping. And
For the foreseeable future, I imagine.
Yeah, what did I tell the dude? I think I said I wanted to work, it's either a month or 3. I can't remember what I told him initially. I think it was 3 I told him on the phone, but once I got there and realized where I was sleeping, my mind had already been made. It's not going to last long. There were 2 other backpackers who I initially met that were also doing the same job from Canada, and they had left the next morning. They had their own van that they were sleeping out of, which was probably like heaven compared to where I was.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's me and Australian carnies that are working this place.
You and Australian convicts that are running around.
Yeah. So the people in the front of this trailer, people in the front of the trailer were probably the most inconsiderate people I may have ever met in my life. It was a couple. To give an idea, you would call them bogans, which is, it's like redneck trailer trash of Australia. I think that's what you'd go with. And they had a drug operation going on.
No.
The dude was making phone calls all the time, trying to get this dude to drop him shit so he could sell people other carnies drugs, because that's, I guess, what they did. So they were inconsiderate in how they had a TV in their thing that was just playing loud all the time. These 2, there were a couple, they weren't married, they were on the phone all the time, or they were fighting with each other all the time. And I'm right there, separated by like a sheet of plywood that has a hole in it that I could look through. It was a miserable situation. And I did have like a power hookup, but my adapter was bad and I ended up blowing the power out a couple times, and I never told them it was me, but it was definitely my fault.
What do you do there? Like, other than work the carnival, so you have like 24 hours in a day. How long is your shift? Like, what?
Yeah,
goes
so
on?
it would differ. For days where you were traveling, a lot of the times you would set up, like you drive to the fairground, and sometimes, like if the drive was long, then you just call it a day.
Mhm.
It would, nicest day ever, the day off, because then you end up going to a bar, get actual food like pizza or something.
Yeah.
You get to drink. The days working, you'd be setting up, lifting heavy shit like all day long, and then after setting all the rides up, I set, they call them dodgems, which is just bumper cars.
Okay.
And after setting that up, you would have to work the fair because they usually open.
Mhm.
So I think my longest day was like a 16-hour day. That was pretty brutal. I think I probably had hour break, something like that.
What do you make an hour?
I don't know what it was hourly, but every week it was like $650. They told me 600, but then threw an extra 50 bucks.
Dude, that is not enough to make. I'm sorry.
And that's Australian money.
Is it?
So it's worth a little less than the U.S. At the time, the conversion rate was $1.38 is worth $1 in the U.S. I think.
Quick question.
Yeah,
So
that's
when
a
you
lot.
guys, you were basically in a trailer, right? Was it a trailer or was it like a vehicle?
It was a trailer, so it was being.
You're getting pulled around.
Yeah.
When you drove to new places, were you just chilling in that trailer in the back?
No, actually, I got to ride with either one of the bogans who would listen to country music the entire way.
Oh my god.
And really, he was a nice dude to me, like, individually. It's just super inconsiderate otherwise. Or, like, the family that owned all the rides. And I, like, rode in the semi with the trailer being the whole setup for the bumper cars. So that was nice, too.
I get you needed money, but that is not nearly enough to make me go through what you had to go
By the
through.
way, we'll
That
throw a
is
picture.
so
Nate has
fun.
a couple pictures
Yeah,
of this
there were a
trailer that
couple.
we'll throw in.
Yeah, dude, it's.
I've only
fucked
seen one.
up.
You're making like 500 USD a week.
Sleeping on
I had to
dirt.
do it.
Sleeping on.
Dude, I guess.
I get
I did
like
flip the mattress and there wasn't mold on the other side. So, you know, there was a plus.
There's the bonus of no mold.
At least you were smart enough to at least flip it over and see what was going on.
Yeah, and underneath the mattress was just like a sheet of wood. So and it was a foam mattress. It wasn't like an actual mattress.
Not like a springy.
No.
Jeez.
Flipped it over to
How'd
like
you
a
do
cockroach
laundry?
family.
How what?
How'd you do
Laundry.
laundry?
Where'd you shower?
So showers that have places set up for us, either like some place on the fairgrounds itself had like facilities for people, or they'd have temporary ones that they'd set up, and some of them were actually really nice and had hot water, so that was cool.
So some did not have
Some
water.
of them.
Yeah, one place I went to, I think there were 5 showers, and 3 of the shower heads were completely missing. 2 of them didn't work. There was like one that came out as a trickle, and it was cold. That place sucked. Yeah, this wasn't a good time in my life. You know, in my travels, this was not good. It felt like a whole month.
Was this the low? Like the lowest low?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, it was the lowest
Whenever,
level.
whenever Nate would talk in chat, he'd just be like, "This fucking sucks." Every message from Nate in like our group chat was just,
And
"I fucking hate this."
I didn't have internet most of the time. Like, even my cell service out there, like, I just didn't have it most places. So that sucked. So it would be like days off where I go to the bar. I actually like got their Wi-Fi. I finally get to communicate with people and complain about my life.
Be like, hey, I'm alive. Bogans didn't kill me.
Yeah, and I don't imagine. Yeah, speaking of that, I don't imagine this was like a safe situation at all.
I felt safe, but
The man had warrants out for him. Like,
My roommates had a drug operation.
do you think back and think, man, I was actually like, I could have just been killed.
Yeah,
Nobody would
what's
have
the-
done anything.
That's a good question, Luke. What's
Hindsight's
what's
20.
the
No, see,
hindsight looking like?
hindsight, I still would have done it because I had to. I never felt in danger by these people at all, because I became one of them. They said, "You're a real Aussie now." Like, this is
You barely go
like
through
they
it.
accepted me.
That's like how you wean someone into a drug operation. Like, you're a real Aussie now. Hey, go drop this off to the dude 2 cars down. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I went drinking with them. Like, whenever we went to the bars, I'd always go with them. So I got to know them decently, as much as they were a pain in my ass. Is like all I had really. So I get to this one town called Miles, and I get there and all the stuff that we packed. So